Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dewsbury Arts Group's virtual Musichall.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? Why don't you come along? Snow is glistening, dashing through the snow. We're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. The beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away, listen to words, it's safe, listening words. As we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow, we can build a snowman. Every tender tears must drown. Yes, say I am married, we'll say no man, but you can do the job in your own town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire. The face unafraid, the plans we made, walking in a winter wonderland. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow, one-horse open sleigh. All the fields we're laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits rise. Run to sing a sleigh of song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. It's a beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Wonderland.
Yes, welcome indeed to this virtual palace of varieties. You can't come to us, but we can come to you with artists who have appeared before the caravanners of Cross the Moor, the golfers of Wath, and the magistrates of Pontefract. Stay with us as we bring to you songs and jokes that you've laughed and cried at before, a tale of a world trip, a COVID version of the famous List song from the Mikado, and an essential guide to wrapping the perfect Christmas present. There may even be time for a final chorus of Down at the Old Bull and Bush. But first, ladies and gentlemen, provocative in piquancy, please welcome Miss Helen Fox.
In quaint native dress an Italian maid was deep in distress while the street she strayed, searching in every part for her false sweetheart and his ice cream cart. Her English was bad, it cannot be denied, and so to herself in Italian she cried, "Oh, Antonio, he's gone away, left me alone, all on my own, I want to meet him with his new sweetheart." Then up will go Antonio and his ice cream cart. So sad was the plight of this fair young lass, she fainted the sight of an ice cream thus. She'd dream nigh every day that he'd come to stay, but he'd fade away. Her old hurdy-gurdy each day she'd parade, and this she would sing to each tune that it played. Oh, oh, Antonio, he's gone away, left me alone, all on my own. I want to meet him and his new sweetheart. Then up will go Antonio and his ice cream cart. She sought with despair for Antonio and looked everywhere that she thought he'd go. Soon she to pine began, as each face she'd scan for her ice cream man. She faded away, but they say on the streets the ghost of that girl in Italian repeats. Oh, oh, Antonio, he's gone away, left me alone, all on my own. I want to meet him with his new sweetheart. Then up will go Antonio and his ice cream cart.
Thank you, Miss Fox. And now, ladies and gentlemen, fresh from a trip round the world and 14 days in quarantine, please welcome Biddy and Fanny.
Come on then, come on. Home again, eh, Biddy?
At last! You can have too much of this gallivanteering around the world. Next time we ought to go somewhere else.
Don't talk about next time. We're home, and we've got to make the best of it. Enjoy being in the great Metrolux once more. Good old London.
The centre of the unicycle.
It's verse, not cycle.
Well, I thought for verse it had to rhyme.
Well, it does. London and...
Glasgow.
No, you half pint. We're not talking railways, we're talking P.O. Like that Shakespeare fellow, Rick.
Was he a Londoner too then?
Course not. He came from Stratford, up Manchester way. You do know what I mean, don't you?
Oh yeah, I saw him yesterday getting on the number 26B tram up to Whitechapel.
Don't be stupid, Biddy. You couldn't have.
Well, I did.
Sometimes I do wonder about your sanitary. Biddy, it couldn't have been. The 26B tram don't go to Whitechapel.
Well, I thought you looked a bit lost.
And he's dead as well.
And a bit pale.
And he read that Scottish play about them witches that were clairvoyagers. They said what was going to happen, and then he did.
Oh, I went to see one of them once.
Oh, what? A witch?
No, a fortune teller. Madame Petrochemical she was called. She had one of them crystal things.
Balls.
No, it's true. And she gazed into it and could see all that's behind me.
Well, that's quite an eyeful.
And she said I was going to meet a tall, dark strangler.
Stranger, Biddy, stranger.
No, it was a strangler. It was the coalman and I owed him for 500 weight of naslack. Grabbed me by the collar, gave me a right turn, thought I'd evaporate on the spot.
I don't trust them fortune spellers. I went to one of them averages once down to contact the other side.
It's not an average, Fanny. It's a mediocre.
Oh, she was. She had one of them season things, you know, all in a dark room with a table and knocking.
Oh, yes. My husband wanted me to try that once, but I wasn't having any.
And she said, "Is anybody there?"
He was there.
about both of us. Oh, and then this disemboweled voice came out of nowhere.
Oh, what did it say?
It said, "Only bugs, missus. It was your Coleman, and we're in her coal shed."
So you didn't get any visitations from any ghastly apparatus?
Not likely. I was out of there before you could say Robinson Crusoe, covered in coal dust. I look like G.H. Eliot.
No, that was chocolate. Did you get your money back?
I didn't. You know, I reckon she knew it was going to happen.
Uncannibal.
It was. All supernumerary, like when it had my palm read at Clacton on the front.
I thought they always read it on the front.
Ah, the sea front. She said she could read my life in the lines on my hand like a book.
It's a good job it wasn't the lines on your face then. It'd be an encyclorama.
She followed my lifeline. That's the most outspoken, you see.
Did it mention me?
Well, she said I was going to travel far and meet up with creatures from the wilderness. So I suppose you did get a mention.
And now we're back.
Oh,
London.
Trafalgar Square. Come on, let's put his bags away. We live in Trafalgar Square with 4 lions to guard us, fountains and statues all over the place, and the metropole staring us right in the face. Although it's a trifle drafty, but I look at it this way, you see. If it's good enough for Nelson, it's quite good enough for me.
The beds ain't so soft as they might be. Still the temperature's never too high.
And it's nice to see swells who are passing look on you with envious eyes.
And
When they wake up in the morning, just fancy how nice it must be
to have a good walk for your breakfast.
and the same for your dinner and tea. There may be a swell up in Mayfair tonight who'll be glad if we only had our appetite. We live in Trafalgar Square with 4 lions to guard us, fountains and statues all over the place, and the metropole staring us right in the face. I know it's a trifle drafty, but I look at it this way, you see. If it's good enough for Nelson, it's quite good enough for me. Come on, let's unpack our bags. Come on, we've been out a long time.
With words by the late great David Wood, that was of course Cat Brooke as Biddy, and covering himself in swathes of female attire, again, as Fanny, that was Richard Brooke. Now, if you have tears to shed, grab a piece of hoarded toilet paper and prepare to wipe them now. Ladies and gentlemen, here from his little grey home in the West, Mr. David Fletcher!
When the golden sun sinks in the hills, and the toil of a long day is o'er, though the way may be long in the lilt of a song, I forget I was weary before. Far ahead where the blue shadows fall, I will come to contentment and rest, and the toils of the day will be all charmed away in my little grey home in the West. There There are hands that will welcome me in. There are lips I am longing to kiss. There are two eyes that shine just because they are mine, and 1,000 things other men miss. It's a corner of heaven itself, though it's only a tumble-down nest. But with love waiting there, there's no place can compare with my little grey home in the West.
A popular song indeed. Well, it was until he sang it. As someday it may happen that a victim must be found, I've got a little list of society's co-idiots who should be underground. They'd none of them be missed, There's those pestilential nuisances who draw confusing graphs, the minister who didn't mean to shout and swear at the start, the Romeo who had a date in someone else's flat, and people who like shaking hands, you really can't do that, and all third parties who on meeting up on Zoom insist. They'd none of them been missed. There's that man from Barnard Castle who's a national disgrace, the myopic motorist. I've got him on the list, and people who won't wear a mask and splatter in your face. They'd none of them been missed. Then the party donor businessman who made a PPE that wasn't fit for purpose for a much inflated fee. The orange chap with tiny hands who wears a long red tie, who cannot fix elections but rather like to try. And that singular anomaly, the test-trace strategist. I don't think she'd be missed. I'm sure she'd not be missed. And that nice high-priced nuisance who these days is rather rife, the Sky News journalist, I don't think she'd be missed. The well-off who test positive and won't self-isolate, they'd none of them been missed. An apologetic statesman of the confiscating kind, they're pretty pathetic, and likewise you'll never mind the anti-vaxxers, boggle holders, mean and selfish folks who think coronavirus is a governmental hoax. But it really doesn't matter who you put upon the list. They'd none of them been missed. The singing partyist, the Trump apologist. Yes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now, our next artiste needs no introduction. He's self-isolating. And so, ladies and gentlemen, an exemplary exhibition of vocal virtuosity. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Carol Parkinson.
Cherry ripe,
and gentlemen, as the weather outside is truly frightful, please welcome back once again the company of Dewsbury Arts Group.
Let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Now it does show signs of snow outside, and the that's in your eyes, and the lights in the rain are bleeding down. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Big one, when we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm, 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 I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying, and I hear we're still colliding. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. But the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. You don't know it doesn't show signs of stopping, that our roads so cold for popping, and the lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm, 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 I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying, and I hear we're still declining. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let's go. Snow.
Of course, for those in Hull, that was, of course, Let It Snow. Ladies and gentlemen, our next couple met in the Tunnel of Love. She was digging it, evoking those halcyon days when you could still sit together on public transport without wearing a mask. Please welcome Mark and Maria Bailey!
Some people declare that a quiet country lane is the very best place for a spoon. An old rustic style must be there, they'll explain, and there's not too much light from the moon. Now my girl and I live in town, you must know, that quiet country lanes can't be found. There's no rustic styles in our neighbourhood, so every time Sunday evening comes round, then we'll go for a ride on the car, for we know how cosy the tops of the tram cars are. The seats are so small and there's not much to pay. We sit close together and spoon all the way. There's many a miss who'll be Mrs. Sunday through riding on top of the car. We climb on the car where our journey begins, and we make for the first vacant seat. For all of the people we don't care two pins, as long as our comfort's complete. And when the conductor comes up for the fares, he punches our ticket then goes.
and gives us a wink as he pops down the stairs
like an overgrown Cupid in clothes. Then we go for a ride on the car. For we know how cozy the tops of the tram cars are. The seats are so small and there's not much to pay. We sit close together and spoon all the way. There's many a miss who'll be missing someday through riding on top of the car. We get to the end of the journey alright, or at least to the end of the track. And while all the others prepare to alight, we remain on the car and go back. And when we get married, now boy, here's a tip that ought to be useful to you. We shan't spend too much on a honeymoon trip, for we made up our minds what to do. We shall go for a ride on the car. For we know how cozy the tops of the tram cars are. The seats are so small and there's not much to pay. We sit close together and spoon all the way. There's many a miss who'll be misses someday through riding on top of the car.
Yes, love, ladies and gentlemen. It is better to have loved and lost a short girl than never to have loved at all. Ladies and gentlemen, as you sink under the bedclothes with your latest tub of ice cream, don't feel any pangs of guilt. And here's why. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jackie Fletcher.
I never was the one to go and stick myself. If I like a thing, I like it, that's enough. But there's lots of people say that if you like a thing a lot, it'll grow on you and all that kind of stuff. Well, I like to drop a stout as much as anyone, but a drop is about supposed to make you fat. And there's many a lardy-dardy madam wouldn't dare to touch it, 'cause she mustn't spoil a figure, silly cat. I always hope with having it if you fancy it. If you fancy it, that's understood. And suppose it makes you fat, I don't worry over that, 'cause a little what you fancy does you good. Every year I like a little holiday, and we always has one, my old man and me. But the last one that we had, he brings up a new idea as we watch the ladies bathing in the sea. He says what a man requires is changing everything, so I ought to spend my holidays alone, far away from everyday affairs. So I says, very likely, well, if you prefer a fortnight on your own, I always up with having it if you fancy it. If you fancy it, that's understood. But if that's your big idea, I shall want to do the same, because a little of what you fancy does you good. I had to catch a certain train the other day, and I very nearly lost it, I declare. But the guard said, "Hop in, missus," then he put me in a first, and I saw a nice young couple sitting there. Well, you could see that honeymoon was stamped all over them. I felt sorry for the lady and the chap, so I said to him, "Excuse me, if you want to have a cuddle, 'cause I'm gonna have a nap. I always hope with having it if you fancy it. So get on with it, don't waste no time. I'll be dreaming while you spoon, and I'm on my honeymoon. 'Cause a little of what you fancy does you good.
I discovered recently that Miss Fletcher is a very strict vegetarian. So when I offered her a tongue sandwich, she said, "Oh, I couldn't possibly eat something that's come out of an animal's mouth." So she settled for a boiled egg instead. Now, in preparing for this entertainment, I misplaced my thesaurus. I cannot find the words to describe my disappointment, but here is someone who is not short of a word or two, here to describe how to wrap the perfect Christmas present. Please welcome Mr. Hugh Rain.
Have you been struggling with your gift wrapping? Would you like some help? Firstly, gather everything you need. That's it. Now, let's start with something easy. No, perhaps a simple shape to begin with. That looks about right. Firstly, unroll just enough paper to cover your present. Measure 72 to 86 millimeters extra, along the right-hand side if you're British, or on the left if you're foreign. Fold the short side in about 2 centimeters, then sharply crease the excess paper until it fits snugly against the right side. Then simply take your scissors and trim off the excess. Now, find your sticky tape and locate the end. Having trouble? Try turning it the other way. There you go. Now, tape the right-hand edge down. Repeat this for both sides until the present is neatly wrapped along the vertical axis. You're getting the hang of this. Next, take the bottom piece and fold upwards. Now fold into the corner until a sharp crease is formed. That's it. Now do the same on the other side, forming an isosceles triangle, and secure with sticky tape. Next, take the second of the bottom pieces and create an equilateral triangle if it's not a Tuesday, or a scalene triangle on any day, so long as Jupiter's moons are not aligned. Do the same at the top, either by reversing the steps on the bottom, or you may choose to try a Turkish triangle, which, if you remember your O-level maths, has just 2 sides. Did you remember your ribbon? Now's the time to add a level of finesse that will make your parcel the talk of the town. Finish it off with some tassels, and there you are. Now, simply place it under the tree until that special someone finds it on Christmas morn. Well done. They don't have to know you got some help. That'll be our little secret. Now to reward yourself with an ice-cold drink. You've earned it. Well, after tackling that, I'm sure you can handle anything. Let's try a more complex object. No, I don't think you're ready for that yet. How about a bottle? A deceptively difficult item to wrap, but one which we will conquer in no time. Take a sheet of paper and wrap it carefully around the body of the bottle. Cut off the excess paper and secure with tape. I think we're forgetting something. That's right. The neck is the trickiest part, but don't worry. Simply take a piece of paper 78% smaller than the first and attach it towards the base of the neck. Now carefully twist in a direction roughly facing the town of Newton Aycliffe if you're in the northern hemisphere, or Salapumbwe if you're below the equator. Fold down at the top, secure with sticky tape, and finish off with another bow. Of course, if this is too complex, you may also use a bottle bag as an alternative. And that's it. Now all there is to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the festive period. Good night.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you get all the presents you want. Unfortunately, production is down at Santa's workshops as a lot of the helpers have been elf isolating. Meanwhile, unfortunately, Joseph and Mary will not be able to make it to Bethlehem this year as all Virgin flights have been cancelled. They had hoped to have had a conference call with the shepherds and the 3 wise men, but there was no Zoom at the inn. But after all, treat 2020 as a pantomime. It's behind you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there's just time for one final chorus of Down at the Old Bullumbush. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Helen Fox, Mr. David Fletcher, Miss Jackie Fletcher, Kat and Richard Brooke, Carol Parkinson and Mr. Hugh Rain, but this time chiefly